maybe these stories are coincidence, or maybe it's misinformation, or it could be something deeper. At the end of the day, they all point to one truth, right? Humanity's curiosity does not stop at the edge of known, and maybe it's not supposed to. So, tonight we just ask you guys to see like what happened to them. Ask yourselves, what truths are willing to be explored, even if they challenge every belief that we know today. Because, I guess the moment starts when you start asking questions, and that's how we're able to expand in this life.
Welcome to Awaken the Minds. I'm Monica.
And I'm Mikael. Together, we're your guides on this journey of exploration and awakening.
Here on Awaken the Minds, we dive deep into the mysteries of life and beyond, from spirituality and reincarnation
to marriage, personal growth, and the secrets of the universe. And yes, we'll even talk about aliens.
Because let's face it, the truth is out there, and so is the love and wisdom we all need to evolve. So whether you're seeking answers or just curious about the unseen forces shaping our reality,
you found your tribe and the vibes.
So let's awaken the minds together.
There are moments in history where curiosity becomes something more, where the human mind doesn't just ask questions, it begins to touch the edge of reality itself. Tonight we're stepping into the space where science meets mystery, where brilliant minds explore the unknown, and in some cases, left behind more questions than answers. Not everything you'll hear tonight is confirmed, not everything is fully understood, but maybe that's the point. Because the deeper we get into the truth, the less certain everything begins to feel. So, the real question is, what happens when someone gets too close to understanding reality itself? Welcome back to Awaken the Minds. I'm your host, Mikael. With me, as always, my wife.
Hello. It's been a while. It's been a while since...
a little while. We've been working on some things.
Yeah, we've been trying to come up with different ways to bring you guys more episodes, more content, just kind of give you guys a little bit more on the research side, I guess you can say like we want to do a little bit more of educational, and also still have obviously people come on the pod, but eventually teach you guys a little bit more as we also learn ourselves. So welcome back to Awaken the Minds.
Sir, let's get it. How you feeling?
Good. Surviving out here. What about you?
I feel good too. My back's a little sore, Got my back tatted. Look at this guy.
You can't see him.
Oh, he's not on camera.
No, he's not on camera.
Oh, well, before we dive into these researches and UFO files, got to make sure the camera's on me. Let me ask you, do you believe you would be a threat to an organization or humanity if you understood and had the knowledge to change reality itself?
Yes. I believe you would, especially if you have science backing it up, where you are not only, I would say, it's like a meditation, right? You can't prove that everything you see on a meditation is real, but you just know it in your heart that this is real. Like, you can't explain manifestation to people, because you don't know the science behind it. But if someone that knew quantum physics and they're dedicated to learning the quantum, then they become a threat, right? They become a threat because now not only are you exposing what the brain can do, or the body, or the words, or the vibration of things, but now you don't sound, I guess, crazy. And just imagine giving the world that we're able to choose an alternative reality, or just anything in particular that has real science behind it. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah. No, yeah. Most definitely, because think about it, like if you can switch timelines, right? Let's say you figured out how to switch timelines, which in reality we can, right? Because it comes with understanding ourselves, with meditation, with action behind the thought process that we put into it, right? Let's say you want to be an engineer. Okay, well, you go through the process of becoming an engineer. You become an engineer, right? Law of attraction, and being But, behind like these researchers and everything, they've not only are in the field of the science, but are also able to understand and see what is not really released to the public, because obviously they work on CIA, government, top secret missions, I guess you could say. And I would assume, because it's classified, none of this information should be really getting out. One, because we don't know how humanity would take it, I guess, because not everybody, I guess you could say, is tuned into the frequency of accepting more than what reality shows us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just like you're just proving everything that's just not in your head anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's having that proof. You definitely are a threat to the world, because I'm pretty sure half of the things that these scientists and people are finding is something that has already been found many years, but back then it was like hush hush, don't say that, don't do this, don't do that. And now it's like people are asking questions, people are not letting things go under the rug, especially with social media being such a big platform now, and it being a source of news and a source of awakening the people. There's no way people are letting that go anymore. They're more like, well, that doesn't make sense, so why would I believe that, when years back when I used to believe this is now I'm no longer crazy. There's a lot of things that are coming to light now that people believed back then, and they were like, people will be like, oh, you're crazy or whatever. And now it's like things are coming to light where it's like, you were never crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually right. Like this actually does exist.
Nah, my boy, you crazy.
Nah. And for example, like those documents now that the CIA has been releasing too, where it's like you can remote view, which is something that you do through a meditation, and that monks have done it for decades. And people have been like, you're crazy. Like, you can't do that. Like, what do you mean? And just the fact that a lot of things are just starting to come to light that are actually true. Yeah. And they say that maybe we're like in a sensitive era of our life, right? Like people are more sensitive, but I feel like that's the whole point now. It's like people are meant to be more sensitive because people aren't meant to let go of certain things anymore, and we're meant to ask the right questions, and we're meant to actually find the answers instead of putting them under the rug. So yeah.
Oh yeah. It makes sense. Definitely when you astral travel, it's definitely a out of body experience. But not only that, but when you get to travel beyond this realm, you get to see different humans, beings, hybrids, etc. And I think that's what's the most mind bending to a lot of people, I guess, who have not yet discovered that within themselves. But let me ask you, if you had clearance to top secret information, I'm talking about can't say nothing.
Hush, hush.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Would you keep it to yourself, or would you expose some of those secrets?
First of all, if they were to tell me and be like, you can't tell nobody, I'd be like, that husband doesn't count, right? Because that's the first person.
Tengo chismosa virus.
I was like, my husband doesn't count, right? Because that's the first person that I'm going to tell. So, I mean, it depends, honestly. Honestly, if I was in the type of business and I didn't have a family, and let's say like we were both in it type of thing, I mean, I'll be like, fuck it. Like, we have nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Because at this point, like, we're grown adults and we're kind of living for ourselves on our own. And if we're going to be able to awaken the people and rebel out a little bit, I mean, I would do it. Yeah, but if I were to do that, it's because I got money stacked up and I'm able to go to like England or something where I'm able not to get caught by the United States, So,
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, they know somebody somewhere. They'll pay somebody to find you. If you obviously expose, like a lot of whistleblowers also who have, exposed some of the things, and then mysteriously, being healthy and all, they get like a heart attack or mysteriously disappear or something like that.
That's weird.
Just saying, not speculating, just saying.
I mean, allegedly, but to think about it, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel that I'm a rebel at heart, and I blame my Aquarius sign for that, my zodiac. because I feel that at the end of the day, if it's going to be for the greater good of humanity, why not? I'm going to die. Like, if there's anything that is more sure than life, is death. And that's something that you can never run away from. But if I, like, just imagine, like, knowing all these secrets and, like, pretending like these people are, like, walking in, like, this, like, oblivious, naive path, and they think that, like, there's nothing more to life. Like, why wouldn't you want to awaken that on them, you know? And then at the end, like, you did your mission. Like, at the end of the day, it's like you were brought here to know these secrets for a reason. And then what you do next is what makes, I guess, the experience worth it.
Right.
And I feel like that's what we're here for. Like, we're here to experience it, and we're here to, like, I feel like we kind of choose our own death in a sense, where it's like, depending on the path you're going, it correlates to your death at the end of the day. So, I mean, like I said, I think I would do it. I don't know, because, like, that's just in me. Like, I would just be like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to die regardless. Let me just go spend some cash real quick, and then because they're going to shoot me tomorrow type of thing, you know? Like, your death is counted, that's for sure, once you whistle blow. And depending, too, because if the government also sets you up to whistle blow, because I'm pretty sure most of these whistleblowers are like, you're going to give this much information, and then you're done giving this type of information, you know, and then we'll pay you this amount of money. But it all depends who you're connected with and what country or what world you're currently associated with. Yeah. But what would you do? Would you?
I'll be like, guys, let me tell y'all some crazy shit that I found out. That's it. I'm exposing everything. I mean, it just makes sense, though, because think about it. We all know frequencies are everywhere, right? You believe in Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is a frequency. You can't see it. I can't grab it right now, you know what I'm saying? But we know it's here. It's working around us. And it's the same thing with, you know, frequencies within ourselves. That's how we obtain messages, even more so through meditation, as you start connecting through to the higher self and, you know, raise your vibration, because everything is frequency. Colors are frequencies. Plants give out frequencies, etc. You know, animals give out frequency of love, unconditional love. Same goes vice versa with emotions of a human. Each one of those emotions, I guess you could say you could feel them, but you can also see them. And although, like, let's say you would see somebody walk by that's angry, you'd be like, oh, dang, I can feel that frequency. I can feel his energy, right? Although we can't touch it, we can't grab it, but you feel it because you can see it and feel it. You know, just a little bit of information there about frequencies, how they work. Same thing with music. You know, music, if you listen to, like, I don't know, some, like, negative music, you're going to feel those frequencies and emotions within you because you're listening to that versus listening to something positive, and now you feel, like, uplifted, positive vibe. You're vibing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, big dog. Yeah, I mean, this is just a little bit what we're going to get into today. I mean, clearly we're talking about science. We're talking about the unknown. So we're clearly going to talk about some interesting stuff. So stay tuned with some information we have. So, yeah.
Well, guys, today we're going to share some information with you guys on a few scientists and researchers who happen to work on some top secret stuff. At the same time, you know, somehow, some way ended up on a mysterious list of disappearances. You know, I'm just lying.
Sure. Allegedly.
But, you know, first up is going to be Amy Eskridge. And then just so you guys know, we do have our notes here. So if you see us looking through some of our notes, we just want to make sure we give you guys, you know, proper information that we were able to source and find on these people and some of the things that they did in their background as far as the work that they did, and also, you know, how they passed or mysteriously disappeared. So we just want to make sure that you guys get the, I don't know if I want to say correct information, but
because we don't know if it's correct. Yeah.
At the end of the day, we don't know if this is what the government just wants us to know, type of thing.
Yeah, this is just what we have gotten from other resources when it comes to Google and research, TikTok, social media, like all of that. So whatever we're giving you guys is what we've already seen on social media, maybe things that you guys already seen on social media or other YouTube channels. And so you might see me looking at my computer. Usually you don't see my computer here. So just so you guys are more aware. Like I said, we're working on things to be able to make it look a little bit more professional, give you guys a little bit more education, get a little information on our research to go by. So this is just the start of a new type of segment that we're kind of touching base with research and the way we do it. I know we used to do it a lot when we first started, and also we would use like our iPad and stuff. So, but we're hoping that as we are able to get more technology, we'll be able to make it look a little bit more professional and something that you guys can enjoy and follow along with us. So yeah.
Yep. At the end of the day, you know, I always see it as it's just always good to have your notes, you know. Lets us know we're human and we're not freaking robots, you know. This isn't AI made.
Period.
But yeah, first up on the list is Amy Eskridge. She was not your typical researcher. She did explore ideas that sit at the very edge of physics and advanced propulsion systems, which means basically advanced physics involving and utilizing high energy, non-chemical methods to achieve greater efficiency and thrust for like deep space travel, or often even leveraging electromagnetic fields such as like nuclear energy or manipulating space and time. Now, imagine what that would mean, right? That means no more fuel limitations. That's like unlimited power to your Tesla or unlimited fuel to your Lambo at 190 miles an hour.
Like, I think about it, and you know how right now they've done a lot more research when it comes to like aliens and all of that, and how they used to like power things up. There's no way that the only way to power a car is through the electricity that we have here or the oil. There has to be other ways, you know, like, you know how they used to use like crystals to power up any type of vehicle, or their pyramids and stuff like that, or how they say that the pyramids all the way feet below is like a system that used to work of
I think it was
power.
like made out of copper, if I remember.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean, even copper could be used. I've seen
videos,
literally like YouTube tutorials. People show you how to literally generate free energy through copper.
Yeah, and a crystal, because they always put a crystal in the middle, and that's what generates the energy. So that's also interesting, because I'm like, I'm not a scientist, but if I was ever a scientist and in any of my other lives, I would love to study how crystals power up a copper, because, you know, like they say, every crystal also helps you heal certain parts of your body, and I would want to know, how does that frequency or energy heal the body? But yeah,
It's like we mentioned earlier, you know, everything has some sort of frequency. It's like, you know, like Superman, when he goes to the sun, he gets energy from the sun. Or when he goes back to his like man cave type thing, there's always those like clear quartz around, and he also generates energy and stuff like that, healing. So
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume all these things are not just being shown to us as like some cool little background type thing. You know?
I mean, I feel like
it all has like how I describe it as subliminal messages behind it. You know?
Yeah, I feel like movies and all of that are channeled by people. I feel like everything that we do, anything that we create is a channel, and we're a channel, and people don't see it like that, because I feel like people hear a channel and they're like, oh, here you go with your like spirituality bullshit. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's not spirituality. It's just like the reality. You know, I mean, when you create a song, you're channeling maybe from a different timeline, or you're pretty much like, I feel like music is a message to your future or even your past, and that's a channel, you know. So pretty interesting that, you know, she was studying that, like how there's more energy beyond oil.
Yeah, and you know, some of her work touched on similar ideas to like 0-point energy, which is the concept that empty space may not actually be so empty, which kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like if your car battery ever died, right? You can still turn it on, it won't crank, but you know, you still got some juice in the battery, so technically it never goes empty. It just doesn't have enough power generated to power more. And you know, some usage of those examples of, you know, propulsion systems are like deep space exploration, the Human Mars mission, satellite station keeping, which manages satellites' positions efficiently. Now, that energy might exist everywhere waiting to be accessed. That's the kind of work that she did. But, here's the thing. Ideas like that are often dismissed, not because they've been fully disproven, but because they challenge the foundation of what we accept as reality today. And it's like me discovering a magic pill to no more sickness and disease. Now imagine how that would sound being exposed to the public. No more sickness, no more disease. You'd be like, I think everybody freaking go crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like I feel that everybody has this mentality of there's always have to be a bad moment before the good. And I feel like that's just how humans are programmed. And I feel that we don't see that we could possibly live better than that and not view life in a way of there always has to be a sickness before something. But I feel like we also attract these type of things, so that would be pretty crazy,
Yeah. I hear you. But, getting back to Amy Eskridge, sadly, she passed away in 2022. And, while there was no confirmed evidence of anything suspicious. You got something there? You got something there, buddy?
I mean, they ruled it out as a suicide, which is crazy because, I don't know. I mean, there is a guy that was really connected to her that they were going back and forth, and I'm not wrong. And he pretty much told, and he has gone on the news, which we will post it up here, where he has told the news and be like, there was no way that she committed suicide. Like she had no thoughts of suicide. And I believe she even did a video where where she was like, if they ever tell you guys that I was dead by suicide, like don't believe that. Like I would never commit suicide or something like that. But I'll search it up and I'll put it up here. And she practically says like, no, there's no way that I could. And that's just the crazy thing where it's like, though the social media is getting so much bigger that these videos are like, there's no way to be able to get rid of so many videos. Yeah. And if you do, like there's always somebody that's going to re-upload it, and there's going to be always somebody that's going to re-upload it. And it's just crazy how the government till this day is like, no, like under the rug. Like, no, this is exactly how it happened, when she literally made a video where it's like, if they ever tell you guys I committed suicide, it's not true.
Yeah. And I think that's one of I like how you said, bring that up about social media, because nowadays that's pretty much like our newspaper, right? Like now the news can like say something, and then somebody can be like, yo, like that makes no sense. And you can find that like somebody makes a freaking TikTok or something describing all this information. It's like, bro, like they got this wrong. Like, don't believe everything. I'm not saying don't believe everything. Some of the stuff it's accurate, real. But there are certain things and certain aspects and areas that are, I would say, how do you say it? Like, I lost my train of thought.
Not factual.
They're just like touchy subjects to certain individuals.
Yeah.
We'll just keep it like that.
Okay.
But getting back to Amy Eskridge, not only did she tell her coworker this, and has like messages, which I think her coworker also released those, but I
don't think they were coworkers.
Yeah, I think she was a coworker.
Yeah. I think she had met him through like an email, and they were going back and forth, and then they became friends.
No, Amy's co-founder.
Yeah, so they became friends, and then they started studying it together. They were both engineers. They started studying together, and then from there, that's why he was like, there's no way, because we were like getting beyond this. So they were friends. They became friends online, and then they started like their own company to do more research. And it's crazy because her dad was also part of NASA. Yeah. And her dad also was like, oh no, there's nothing suspicious about it, which I'm sure he's trying to protect his family, which is fine. Allegedly, I'm saying just allegedly. But I mean, in my head, if that was my sister or my brother, I would know that my dad is just trying to protect our family, because if you know your sister too, I'm pretty sure you know that she wasn't.
Well, yeah, especially if he was like somewhat, I don't know, related to like the Apollo missions in like the 50s to like the 2000s. So, I mean, I'm sure her dad was somewhere around that age, because she was like maybe mid-30s or closer to 40s. Yeah, she was pretty young. And not only that, but the craziest thing to me is that they're using this technology, which I think when when COVID first came out, I was trying to find a video. I couldn't find it anymore. But there was this guy who was talking about how they can use the satellites. They can use the satellites to pretty much like shoot like radiation or something. Like,
oh yeah, the project.
yeah, they can like aim it
called?
towards you. I don't remember what that project was called.
Project Lazard, I think it's called Project Lazard, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, where they shoot lasers from the ground up, type of thing.
Not from the ground, but they can literally use the satellite to like shoot
a laser,
like laser beams, frequencies down at certain objects. And like she also had uploaded on her social media where she was like, look, I've been literally sitting here on my computer typing, yet the sun's hitting all of me, but somehow it's just my arms that are sunburned, which makes no sense. Like literally just like pretty much like palm up,
right?
Like super red. And she's like, she knows about these things because she works in the field of pretty much, this is like what she was studying as well. You know, she understands these things.
I believe that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And then going back to that video I found of the guy, well, I was trying to find, couldn't find it anymore. But this guy also, I think he was like a researcher in like Spain or something like that. And he's like, yeah, look, guys, you know, I've been being targeted. You know, now it's through satellite. And he had like a big window, pretty much where he sleeps. It's like open window, kind of like, so the window's here, his bed's right here. So he pretty much gets all the sunlight. And at the same time, he was like, he had a video he was recording. He's like, look, it's, you know, this is a thick glass, etc. So I shouldn't really be able to get sunburned like that. And same thing, like he like turned over to his bed, and like on the bed was like almost like a shadow, like his body's shadow on pretty much like printed on the bed. And that doesn't necessarily happen just through the sun, you know. That's like a beam of radiation that was getting pretty much shot or
right
thrown at him type of thing. But what were you gonna say?
I don't remember. Oh no, yes. Well, pretty much what she was studying is what Jacobo was studying. No,
Jacobo was doing something else.
I thought he was studying this. I know he was studying like how to make people like remote view and like pretty much see through without having to have like your eyes obviously exposed. But I thought he was studying something very similar to like the zero gravity, which he had figured out how to do that because of time traveling, something like that.
He was studying other things like shamanism.
Yeah, but he was mixing it with science.
But yeah, guys, you know, Amy Eskridge, she symbolized the threshold between accepted knowledge and forbidden questions. You know, her work leaves behind a deeper question. You know, how many breakthroughs start as ideas the world isn't ready to accept? You know, let me ask you, where is the line between genius and being dismissed too early?
What do you mean being dismissed too early?
For instance, if you understood, discovered, and are trying to
like maybe
change the system, right? For instance, let's say you, as we said earlier, if we discovered a magic pill that can clear disease and all that, where's the line between an idea being dismissed too early, as in like not
saying
being
it
able
too
to
early.
get it out, you know?
I mean, I feel like it's never, honestly, it's hard to say that it was ever too early, you know, because what if you just have to say it to make sure like something changes, even if it was like dismissed too early, you know? I don't know if it's being dismissed too early, because it's like everything, right? It's like, no, you can't even put it like that, because I was gonna say it's like getting married, and then you know when you should be getting married, type of thing, you know? Like, that's not being dismissed too early. Like, you know that you shouldn't be getting married too young. You should be getting married at an age where your front lobe is actually a little bit more developed. But like when it comes to like science, I think you just have to take this like a Russian roulette. Like, you kind of have to take like your own things to your own hands, like matters to your own hands, and just say it. Because what if you just never say that and something never changes? Like, what if you not saying that doesn't change the timeline? And what if you saying that activated a new one? So I don't know if dismissed too early when it comes to things that can prove that humanity can become better is ever going to be too early.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes certain individuals don't want these things
Obviously.
being discovered. So
It's like everything.
that's how I would say. I guess that's what I would say. It was dismissed too early because we weren't able to. We as humans, the human public, are not able to get the access of the stuff that she was studying and the things that she was doing and the things that she discovered because, you know, it was kind of like her work ended up being swept under the rug. Right. It's almost like, what was it, like in the 90s, I think, where the first electric car or water car or whatever that they were promoting, and that's like 2 years before they were like, oh, you know, this needs to work. But then now they're trying to bring back the same thing with electric vehicles.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like the same thing. It was dismissed early in the 90s where they're like, oh, these cars aren't going to be efficient for the world. And now they're trying to bring them back now, and they're trying to make everything either electric or, you know, water-based hybrid cars.
Which I feel like there's more stuff to be able to do stuff like that. I feel like we shouldn't. I feel like there's not only a way to use water, not only a way to use the energy we have. I feel like there's plants that we can use, you know. But then again, I mean, that's for another day, another conversation.
Yeah. Do you think revolutionary ideas threaten existing systems?
Why? What?
Do you believe that revolutionary ideas threaten existing systems?
Yeah. As in revolutionary, as in what I see in my meditations?
Anything can be revolution, whatever breaks today's system.
Yeah, 100%. Because if I were to tell you everything I've seen in my fucking brain and the things that I've gotten and messages I've gotten, I mean, 100%. I mean, nowadays, which was something that I was hearing in a podcast, it's like, it's hard to talk to people about this because you will sound woo-woo. Like, you will sound crazy. You will sound delulu. You'll sound like, bitch, there's something wrong with you. Like, you know, and I feel that when you get in a group that actually understands this, like, now you're seen as a hippie, you know, you're seen as oh, you're just doing too much drugs, like, you know, and you high, like, you know, and it's not that. It's just like once you develop to see beyond what you were programmed to see, it's hard to ever go back to that. And I always knew that since I was like, I don't know, like a kid. Mm-hmm. I've always had these thoughts in my head, and it just got louder and louder until I paid attention to it. So I do believe. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, most definitely. That's why, you know, a lot of these people, whistleblowers, etc., get silenced because it threatens, I guess, what was taught to us and told to us, you know, by a system that schools follow, that, you know, the world follows, I guess.
Yeah.
So when somebody kind of like, almost like in the movie The Matrix, right? Mm-hmm. Neo breaks all the codes of following in the footsteps of how they want everybody else to act. Mm-hmm. And
he breaks the system.
Mm-hmm. Kind of changes the system, breaks it, makes it being, I guess at the end of the day, is like being free, right?
Yeah, he decodes the Matrix. Mm-hmm. That's what he does. But yeah, I mean, moving on, because now we're never going to finish this episode. Moving on to the next one. These are scientists called the builders of the unknown. And behind every image of Mars, every deep space signal, every discovery beyond Earth, there are engineers. Engineers are the coolest. I think it's one of the coolest careers. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, okay, if I was good at math, I would have gone for it. But, you know, I'm a little slow when it comes to that. All right, so the next one is the builders of the world, if you want to say it like that. But it was Michael David Hicks and Frank Maiwald. Sorry, guys. I'm a little far from my screen. Behind every image of Mars, every deep space signal, every discovery beyond Earth, there is engineers, which I think engineers are probably one of the coolest people. If, you know, I had that type of knowledge, I would have loved to become an engineer. But anyways, let's move on. Michael Hicks and Frank Maiwald are both connected to the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. These individuals were people who designed something that had to be pretty much perfect. because in that environment, there was no failure and it was not even an option, which one little mistake could end up being super deadly. Michael David Hicks worked on the following. He contributed over 80 scientific papers and focused on understanding solar system formation and evaluating potential impact threats. He was involved in NASA's double asteroid redirection test known as DART, a mission to test technology for diverting asteroids. That's crazy, right? Because every time we get like an asteroid, it like they say it's going to hit Earth. So I'm guessing that they do stuff like that, which is crazy. He also contributed to the mission that tested new technology by flying near a comet, which is called Deep Space One. He also worked on experiments to track and identify near Earth objects. So I would say UAPs, anything that maybe was unknown to the Earth. Well, as he served and a researcher in protection at Jacobo for many years, his friend Frank, which Maiwald, I think I finally said it right. He was described as a very long-term co-worker of Hicks and also worked on the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He was involved in specializing in aerospace and scientific research, similar to Hicks, often categorized within high security research files. Their work allows humanity to extend its awareness beyond this planet, and we're talking about machines traveling millions of miles, operating in silence, in darkness, in conditions human bodies could not survive. Which, if you guys knew about aliens, when they come to, I would say, our vibration, because the way we get to their vibration is a lot of meditation, is about not silencing your brain, but also being a good person. So I'm guessing that's kind of what they did, is when the UAPs come down to our level and they enter our solar system. And as both men were reported, they have passed in the recent years. Michael Hicks passed away in July 30th, 2023 at age 59. No cause of death was made public and no record of autopsy could be found. He worked at the JPL from 1998 to 2022, specializing in comets and asteroids, including work, as we said, on the DART project. Frank Maiwald died in July 2024 at age 61. His death, like Hicks, had little public acknowledgement and occurred under unknown causes.
I don't know about unknown causes. It's just weird that a lot of these researchers and developers who, I guess you could say in aerotech, space, etc., engineering for military top secret stuff, end up somehow in some kind of accident, missing, or, whatever the case, suicide as they claim it to be. But it's weird for them that they had no autopsies of
what happened.
Yeah, what happened, or etc. I mean, usually.
Do you know if they had any autopsies for Maiwald?
No, same thing.
Nothing. Because I know they had zero acknowledgement, but I don't know if there was an autopsy.
Yeah, there was nothing. Both
That's
guys kind of had like the same passing, I guess you could say.
Do you think that we are exploring space, or we're trying to understand where we come from?
Do I think we're exploring space or trying to understand where we come from? I would say both, right? Because me specifically, I would like to see what's beyond the veil of Earth. I mean, it's just common sense that, there's just so many life here on Earth as it is. There's got to be life outside of this space,
Oh, 100%.
That's just my thought process. It's just, if there's life on Earth, there's life on water, there's freaking, what do they call them, microbes or whatever.
Yeah.
There has to be life on other planets.
Yeah.
Everything, because at the end of the day, everything adapts, right?
I would really, this is my manifestation, I'm putting it out there to the public, is I would love us to interview somebody that is like in these type of high ranks of studying the Earth. I would love to know what their real opinions are and what they've seen, because this is just us doing some research, but what would it be like to get it from someone that actually has researched it and actually has seen it with their own eyes and actually gotten this evidence and based to the public. So talking to our future self. We will have somebody here, maybe not in this house, but here in this timeline or in the next timeline that we switch over to come to the pod and explain what you have seen beyond what we can comprehend.
Yeah, facts.
Yep.
Get it, girl. Let's get it.
Yep.
What do you think drives humans to leave Earth and search the unknown?
I feel like everybody's just curious. I mean, I'm curious.
Curiosity.
Yeah, it's just curiosity. I mean, I feel like the more, like, when we have done shrooms or even when we meditate, like, like, why do you meditate? Like, or why do you do shrooms? Because you want to learn about yourself and you want to learn about where you come from, what you're made of, unlock your potential. And I feel like that's what, like, literally what this consists of. It's of what are we here for? What's our potential? Where is humanity's potential supposed to lead to? And I feel like it's the evolution of the humanity too, and the past evolution of humanity. Like, there's been said that so many civilizations have ended and have become again and ended and become again and ended and become again. Like, if we think about it, Earth is not that old. Even though they say BC or whatever, but Earth has been rebirthed so many times. And I think that's why other species find us so curious, because we're able to, like, keep coming back.
I don't think it's more the fact that we keep coming back. I think it's the fact that, well, think about it, right? If we go back to, like, Egyptian times, and from the Egyptians go to, like, Romans, Greeks, Mayans, Aztecs, etc. There's a bunch of other. But each one of them, I would say each of these timelines were tests in a way, right?
Yeah.
We were developed to see how we performed in this era. All right. If something didn't work, wipe them out. All right. New era. Now it's this timeline.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. Wipe them out. New timeline. So I think we're just not in this current timeline of, technology and everything that I think we're advancing as humans, along with technology, but at the same time, some of us are not.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything's an advancement, and I feel like once people realize that it depends on the timeline we want to trigger, is what matters. I'm excited to know that we have possibly, hopefully in the future, evidence that we change our timelines and we change the way we live life. Once we're able to see something like that, I'm super excited, and hopefully I'm still alive, even if I'm like 80 in my little farm and dying. I'll be like, I fucking knew it, like, and then my grandkids are gonna be like, my grandma was a wise old lady. And I was like, yes I was, my children, yes I was. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. Do you think space is, do you think the research that we have been doing is more of a scientific approach, or if it's more of a spiritual approach? Do you think that they're trying to understand, like, the spiritual in science, or?
I can't really, like, say either or, because some people, for instance, a lot of scientists only believe that, science is the way, and versus, like, people who are spiritual, they'll be like, yeah, we understand your point, but there's much more than math. And, there's just things that we cannot comprehend ourselves.
Yeah.
That science doesn't understand or can comprehend.
Right.
So, I think it's a little bit of both. At the end of the day, I think it's understanding ourselves much more spiritually.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's both. I feel that the Bible is one of the most powerful books, and even though it's been read in many, many times, but very, very different versions, I feel like there's always truth to it. And I feel that just like the Bible mentions, it mentions unknown species, dinosaurs. It mentions, like, things that we try to put under the rug. I feel like that's where the curiosity started for everybody, where it was like, were dinosaurs real? This is real? Was, like, did they actually see Virgin Mary? Like, how is that possible? And and supposedly when the kids, and which I'm not trying to get religious, but like this is something that where I feel like this is where science kind of like sparked it is, and I feel like goes into like psychedelics, is that when supposedly the 3 kids saw Virgin Mary on the top of the cerro, I believe it was them or it was Jose who saw her, I can't remember. They said that there was a bush next to him. Oh yeah, I think it was him. The bush next to him that was burning, and that bush gave out psychedelic like a scent where he was able to see Virgin Mary. And so I think that that's where it's kind of like, how can people see these things, and are they actually seeing them, or is it like all in their head? And as people start studying more of neurology, you see how your brain activity actually starts becoming different. And I feel like that's where science is trying to understand how that can be reality to the world.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, psychedelics goes back, a very long time. There's even like depictions in the Egyptian, the Mayan pyramids. A lot of these people when they did their, I guess, rituals, prayers, whatever they want to call it, they ended up taking psychedelics, which comes from a variety of things, It could be any kind of, I don't know what they had back then, but I would assume the same things we have now, or if not, probably even more advanced. That's just as they were able to astral travel much more deeply, I guess, or maybe they just didn't do things like now, where it's like, just take this amount. Back then they were probably just like,
yeah,
took a whole bunch, and they were like, oh, where we go.
Right.
Which is funny because also in the movie Moana, when I think it's Moana 2, when they're doing like a little ceremony for her.
Yeah.
Technically, that what she takes is DMT, right? Because she's now able to go to the astral field. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you got anything good?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, guys, now we move into the next segment here. We're going to be speaking about Nuno Loureiro. He was a renowned MIT professor in physics who specialized in plasma physics, magnetic reconnection, and nuclear fusion energy. His work focuses on, fusion energy, and if fusion becomes stable and scalable, it could change everything. I guess a way to see that is, I don't know if you guys watch Dragon Ball Z, or if you guys are any Dragon Ball Z fans, but when Goku and Vegeta fuse together, they need to like perfectly line up their fingertips. Otherwise, to turn into Vegito. But if they don't, they become an unstable form. So any of you anime fans, y'all know what I'm talking about. But, his work meant unlimited clean energy, no more fossil fuel, no more energy scarcity, and pretty much a world where power is no longer controlled by limited resources. Fortunately, he passed last year in December 15, where he was basically shot at his home. Pretty much, he was having dinner with his wife and daughter, and somebody came knocking at the door, shot him pretty much point blank, which is weird too, because I think it was this guy who like lived in like the middle of nowhere. So it's random for like somebody to go to your house.
I think he lived in Joshua Tree.
Can't remember precisely where it was. I don't know if that information was disclosed, but it does say he lived like pretty much somewhere where kind of like out in the woods type thing, See, when stuff like that happens, it just gets you thinking like, who is going to travel in a remote area where not a whole lot of people live, knock at your door, and then, pretty much unalive somebody point blank. That just to me is like, it was a setup, like it has to be a setup. Nobody just randomly, especially if you live in the middle of, it's like if I lived in the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And somebody just comes knocking to my house. I'm like, how'd you get up here, bro? Like, yeah, at least need a car or something to get up here. But that's just my
do you
my
think
thoughts.
Do you think that he kind of already knew that they were going after him?
I'm pretty sure once you're in this field, and I guess you say or do some things that rubs, like I said, the people that you're working with the wrong way, especially the higher ups. Like you said earlier, at some point, your time gets either that, or if you know too much.
Yeah, I mean, he was a professor he actually lived in Massachusetts, and he was a professor at the Michigan Institute Michigan Institute Technology, something like that. But he was a professor there, so I mean, he did his own, which is crazy, you know. Like, I mean, you become a scientist and you start studying all of these things, and you become a professor, and you like really have to be careful when you touch, because once you're involved with like people that know this type of stuff, which to me is like, I don't know why people are still hiding it. I mean, it's like the world is just waking up, and we're starting to ask more questions, like how I said earlier. Like, we're asking more questions, we're asking the right questions, and we're not stopping on asking questions. So it just baffles me that people are still getting punished for knowing something that is common sense, I guess you can say.
Yeah. Not only that, but people are getting punished for things that can revolutionize the world as it is now. Which, like I said earlier, you know, we're in the age now where AI can do so much. So like a lot of these things are not, you know, if something gets revolutionized, I don't think it would affect humanity as much. Maybe it'll affect the pockets of those who, you know, want to control these things. So I'm guessing that's why a lot of these people get silenced or, you know, disappeared, etc. But it's just, I don't know. To me, it's just dumb that, you know, if we want civilization to become better, evolve, you know, there's somebody always controlling. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, their way or no way, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's so much more to the universe than what we know, right? And with that being said, let's go to our next person, which will be Carl Grillmair. Grillmair. Carl Grillmair. Sorry. Rest in peace, my boy. But as many of you know, I mean, we think that we understand the beyond the universe, and we think that there's things that the universe is made out of what we understand, right? In which we think that stars are just stars, the universe is just the universe, and our galaxy is the only galaxy, which, you know, in fact, 85% of the universe is made of something we can't even see, such as faith. Now imagine that. No faith. No faith. Just imagine that. Now you really don't believe in the universe. But Carl Grillmair, sorry, was an astrophysicist at California Institute of Technology. He would study the structures of galaxy and the visible forces shaping them. So he went ahead and he mapped stellar streams, ancient cosmic trails left behind by galaxies that no longer exist, which are remnants from ancient collisions between our Milky Way and other galaxies. He discovered dozens of these streams, with many named by him. To me,
imagine studying something millions of years old and being able to actually see it, study it, explore it. You know, that's like stumbling upon like ancient artifacts in the dinosaur age. Yeah. Or like,
once again, fatally, however you say, shot in his front porch on February 16, 2026, which is one of the most recent ones that happened.
And Amy. She was 2022.
Yeah, Amy was 2022. In this line of work, he worked on invisible forces that shaped our reality, obviously the ghost of galaxies. And that just kind of brings me into thinking, do we really think that half of these humans didn't come from those galaxies? Like, do you think, I feel like we come from galaxies that might have already been destroyed, but what do you think?
No, yeah, definitely. You know, there's things out there that we ourselves have not explored, you know, as in depth as he has, especially studying these different galaxies and, you know, fragments of, I guess, what we would call the old Earth. I mean, that's just, to me, that's insane, being able to study these things, see these things, know where they're at, located.
Yeah.
And, you know, who knows if astronauts did a mission to collect some of these fragments, and then you're able to study these fragments, see what they're made of, what's in them, what organisms and whatnot are living among these things.
Yeah.
To me, that's just like mind blowing.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that there's ever been like astronauts that have gone to space to look at Milky Ways that we're not aware of.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's just like the recent movie that just came out.
Mary Hill, right?
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary, sorry.
The Hail Mary Project. Good movie, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great
The
movie.
homie Rocky.
Yeah. He never cries in movies. He never cries in that one time. He was so quiet.
If you're a man, you will cry in this movie. I'll just let you know right now.
You probably won't. You probably won't because you don't understand the depth of being connected to an alien. So if you are connected to something else higher than what you believe, then maybe you might feel something. But I mean, it's just there's just no way. I mean, unless they like, you know how they fly those little like spaceships that have nothing in it and they kind of do everything by itself. I mean, that could be another possible way. But if I understand, like if you see every star that's around us, those stars are probably like far away from us, you know, and we see them as there. And most likely, I believe those stars are planets or things that are currently also dying.
Well, it's like this. Who saves their stars?
The people.
But do we know they're stars or are they actual planets?
Yeah.
I think they're planets.
I think they're planets.
You know, they're shining bright because there's life on these.
You know, every time I look at the stars, it reminds me of my dad. Because, no, for real. Because my dad, when we used to have this trampoline, and I'll never forget, it was probably one of my best memories as a kid, is we used to live behind this house, and me and my dad would always tell me, he's like, you want ice cream? And then we'll go outside, sit on this trampoline, and we will start looking at the sky, and we'll look at the stars. And he would always be like, you know, they say that when we die, we go back home, and I believe that we go back home to the stars. And every time you die, a new star is born. And I'm like, there's so much truth behind that from what we know. It's like, we really do go back home. And this might just be our temporary home and we feel like it's home, but it might be our temporary home when in reality we belong to another galaxy and we're just here to collect information for other beings to be able to evolve humanity. So
yeah. Well, it's like this. Who creates your thoughts? Your brain or your spirit?
my spirit gives it to my brain.
So then that lets us know that the human body is just a vessel.
Right.
For the spirit, right? Because it's not the body controlling the spirit or the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes from thought. Thought is frequency.
Right.
So that frequency comes in, gets sent to the brain. The brain then sends it down your neural pathways to, versus if I say lift up your hand, okay, lift up the hand. But it starts as a thought from the spirit to the brain to the body.
Yeah. Mind, spirit, and soul.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mind, soul, spirit, or is it mind, body, and soul? There we go. Oops. Sorry, guys. These couple of days have been rough on me. I don't know, man. But anyways.
But we get into our next.
He's probably one of my favorite ones. Not gonna lie.
He's an interesting guy. This guy's name is Jacobo Grinberg.
Was he Mexican?
Hispanic, yeah.
Or was he Argentinian?
I'm pretty sure he was Hispanic. He was studying this in Mexico.
Oh, fair.
But Jacobo Grinberg, he was a neuroscientist who didn't just study the brain, he studied consciousness itself. Grinberg developed something called the synergic theory, the idea that reality is not fixed, but generated through interactions between the brain and the underlying information field. He worked with shamans, he studied healing through intention, and explored whether perception could exist beyond the physical sense. Some key areas in his work include the synergic theory, which Grinberg proposed that there is a continuous energy field that our consciousness creates reality by decoding this field. He studied the brain and consciousness of shamanism and mysticism. He was also investigated paranormal phenomena and published over 50 books during his career. Now, his, passing was one of those that still leave the scientific field bedazzled.
Yeah.
Because, he kind of just disappeared without a trace. And in 1994, there was no confirmed explanation, just from one day to another gone, which, I did come across a theory of some of the people that was working with him. And they said that he also was during the time that they were with him, he was close to discovering how to open portals or a Stargate. So I don't know. I mean, my guess would be he figured out how to open this portal or Stargate and went to a different timeline. But that's just my perspective.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I believe that he broke into the Matrix, and the way he broke into the Matrix is, I feel like, you know how he would make these kids like remote view and astral project type of thing. I'm pretty sure they gave him the code or something, and because that day he was supposed to live to India, right? He was supposed to leave to India, and then the wife even was like, oh, he left, but he had left earlier than expected, which maybe even the wife knew what happened to him in a sense. So I don't know. I mean, if I was your wife and I knew you left me through a Stargate, I'll be pissed. Like, what the fuck you mean?
Dog, I'm gone.
What do you mean you're gonna leave me here with these people? You know, I mean, it just sucks because, I mean, he also left I believe a daughter behind, and I mean, to not know what really happened to your dad or to your spouse, that kind of sucks. You know, I mean, no trace, no nothing. Will we ever know? Who knows? Nope. People will probably do readings on him, and if
probably a remote view.
A lot of people have done psychic readings on him, and they have said that he's still here, like he's still alive, but he's not in this timeline. And to this day, like, it's hard to explain what it means when you're here but you're not in this timeline, because
I guess this realm.
Yeah, this realm where we're at.
Time technically does not exist.
Yeah, so interesting stuff.
Yeah, no, he's like one of the most interesting, I guess, scientists, especially back in the 90s, to be able to to open these things, you know, open these portals. I guess that's what he was doing with you know, having these kids kind of do like telepathy so they can get messages, astral viewing, etc. I'm sure that's how he got all this information, and also 100%. Like they were like, yo, like pull up, you know.
I mean, it's like, right, when we connect to that and the symbol they had given me, which I don't think you guys can see it, but it's a drum that I have up here. I have gotten it through a ceremony that we did, and I did the drum, and when my brother did a ceremony with us, my husband ended up using it, and it activated a timeline or a time or however you want to call it, that opened him to see beyond. So, you know, people think that symbols are just symbols, but they have a language in between.
It's funny because I don't remember playing the drum.
Yeah, as soon as you started playing that, it like completely, this is when he started like going into it, and he started getting stuck in India times, which I had already seen it. But as soon as you did that, like as soon as you played it, is when he like went into Indian times, which were the times that he really needed to heal, because yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah, guys, you know, Jacobo Grinberg, he would do tests on kids as well for like telepathy. He would like put kids in different rooms, and he'd be like, hey, like send this message to this person, and you know, the next person in the room, but oh yeah, you know, so and so has this object in their hand, or so and so, you know, drew this or has this type of thing. Which the craziest thing too is the president of Mexico was also one of his students. So just think about that. Think about how connected she is, or you know, if she's doing this reviewing as well, to maybe even have conversations with him in another realm.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, these are just a few of the scientists that have obviously unlocked to the world what everybody has been asking. And, you know, hopefully with that, we can get closer to the truth and honestly become a better civilization, because there's also, as much as so much more research and a lot more positive things have came out, there's a lot more people that are trying to keep us in a negative realm and a 3D realm, and you know, and not pursue our dreams, because I feel like we're no longer in the boomer area where it's like work and that's all you're meant to do and then you die. I think now we're coming to a version of ourselves where we're healing the earth, and as much as we're healing it, a lot of people want to want to destroy that.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, these researchers, scientists, etc., that we've explained, it's just one of the few that, we thought were really interested in. But, the pattern within these guys is, they were exploring energy, space, reality, and consciousness, which just should make you think, right? Like, why are people in this field disappearing?
Yeah.
And not getting attention.
Right.
Right. And, it just gets deeper than science. The more we begin to think about it, it just sounds like philosophy. And, maybe that's not just a coincidence. We also do have some more cases from different people as well who, disappeared without a trace. Some of them would be like Ettore Majorana. He worked in the field of quantum physics. He was known for the neutrino theory, and somehow, some way, disappeared in 1938 without a trace. Theories range from suicide, a monastery life, or he escaped to somewhere. And there's a lot more people like Rudolf Diesel. He was obviously the diesel. He was the one who created the diesel engine. He was an engineer, and same thing. He somehow, some way, disappeared off a cruise ship in 1913.
I don't trust cruise ships, man. This is why I don't go on cruises.
Why?
Because people disappear and you can't do nothing because you're abroad. You do know that, right? Like,
if you do a lawsuit, just jumped off or something.
If you do a lawsuit, like, cruises are super protected. Like, I'm like, you're never gonna find the real result of why I died because they don't want to shut down cruises. And I mean, cruises are the best way if you want to import drugs, whatever you want to do. It's like best way. Hey, we're gonna host a cruise. You're not gonna go through like detection. You're gonna, So I don't trust cruises. I mean, honestly, if I was somebody that I knew people were looking for me, a cruise would never be the first thing I do. So if we're gonna do a cruise, let's do it now before we before they try to kill or take our head or something, because I just don't.
Yeah. And you never know. Cruises are deadly. At the end of the day, it's like they can say anything, There's also like not a whole lot of surveillance as far as like the some of the cruises I've done. I've never really seen cameras besides on the outside.
Yeah, exactly.
And like certain areas also not really protecting the whole cruise type of thing.
Yeah, because then it's invading people's privacy. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, cruises are super protected with the law, and people try to sue them. Yeah, you disappeared, pay you out, you're fine. Cruises are still alive till this day, and this is why a lot of people want to close down cruises because of how many people have disappeared on cruises, or even it's known for sexually what is it called? What is that thing called when they grab girls and they
sex traffic them?
Yes, that's sex traffic. So, I mean, what's the best way to do it? You host a cruise for everybody that's going to pay millions of dollars, and then on the next stop, hey, this is the girl that we're going to take, and she's gone, and nobody knows. Oh, she probably stayed at the at Greece that we ended up stopping by. I don't know.
It's funny. Like, even in like middle school and high school, you'd come across those things. Like, for instance, I had a friend in middle school who, this person said that, we'll do like your quinceañera for you. Like, we'll send you to, we'll send you here to get your dress fitted. We'll send you here to like practice. We'll send you here to also, what they call it? I forgot what they call it. Like something for like a quinceañera journal, almost like modeling pretty much for like a quinceañera.
Like a tryout. Like,
yeah. And I remember she was telling me, I went, like, this place was like literally fucking abandoned, and I was like, it's kind of sketchy, but like luckily she went in town with her parents, but she was like, and her parents were like, yeah, sometimes it's not right, like it doesn't seem professional, like you guys are going somewhere and it's like literally only like 5 people there, in the middle of like nowhere, kind of deserted. Like, I don't know, to me those things are, you have to be careful with those things,
Yeah, I mean, a little off topic, but yeah, sure. It is true, though.
Yes, I know, but yeah, kind of the same thing as a cruise ship,
I mean, I guess. I mean, we're talking about somebody disappearing. You're talking about, let me tell you this one time.
It's how people disappear, too.
No, I mean, it is true. It is true. But
let's get into these UFO files that were dropped May 8th.
I know. I mean.
Which think?
I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed because it's something that, I mean, I get it. Some people don't look at the sky. I get it. People miss out on looking at the sky. I mean, I think we've seen so many UFOs just looking at the sky sitting in our backyard.
Which you guys, if you spend 30 minutes outside,
you will
just look at the
see one.
sky, you will see them.
You will. 100%.
They're here. They're
Everywhere.
traveling in and out.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe you have to be tapped into that frequency.
I guess
may
so.
also not know that part.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've always wondered.
Just go outside for like 30 minutes to an hour. You'll see something.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I think the videos they showed us is something that I'm like not impressed. There's maybe like two that I'm impressed about, where one that looks like it's on fire or something. That one was really cool. But I've seen those spaceships, that like the ones that go really fast and they open a portal like in the sky, which we've seen those like in our backyard. We've seen those in the park, and but I mean, if you would have given me maybe an interview of an alien, I'll be like, oh, okay. Now this is what I was looking for. But like, you're giving me what I see every time, and like how you were saying, like some of them look like drones, and you're right. Some of them do look like drones.
Look, if you guys want to check out these files, you can go to the website, war.gov/UFO. You'll find all the files and the videos there. I believe there's like 15 pages or something like that, or links that they posted on there, where it has information on there for all the files and videos released. But you know, like my wife said, not impressed with what they released. I think it was one of those, you know, like
shut up.
One of those. Here's some stuff right here. Just
like when you keep telling your boyfriend to propose to you, and then he doesn't propose to you, and then he proposes to you just to shut you up. Yeah, like that. Like that. That's exactly what they did. They just gave us minimal ass shit, and they were like minimal effort. They were like, here, shut up, shut the fuck up. Like, yeah, here's your evidence.
Yep. You know, my belief is they released something that was maybe 30 to 50% true, and the other bit was just like some BS made up. Like I said, most of the videos that we saw, and you know, you guys probably have seen also trending around social media and whatnot. But a lot of these dots that they showed us, you can literally look up at the sky and see them.
Yeah, not only that, but if they would have gave us something in color,
yeah,
everything was black and white. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Like, you know,
use your imagination.
I guess so. I mean, we've been using our imagination. What are aliens? What are UAPs? Like, now you just gave me black and white pictures. Like, we're still in the 1920s. Like, that just makes no sense to me. Pretty sure the cameras that they had there had color, because most of the UAPs is near the ocean. So, I'm pretty sure what they're doing is like, yes, there's life in the water. Here it is. All of these UFOs traveling through the water, you know, but.
Which is another portal. So I don't know if you ever seen that video where they find an ocean under the ocean, and it's like almost like looks like 2 dimensions.
Yeah. But there's a waterfall in the ocean. I don't know if you've seen that too.
Yeah, I've seen that one too.
Yeah, where there's a waterfall in the ocean. So, I mean, I don't know. Do better, government. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah. You know, something more meaningful that they could have dropped would have been something like the Flatwoods Monster, which is where, you know, a family witnessed an alien being in the woods who, you know, crash landed near their house. The Lubbock Lights, where people witnessed in the sky in Texas, or Operation Paperclip, where, you know, a pilot encountered a UFO flying next to him while he was in the air flying. There's many more that can go on, you know, like they could have released some stuff from like abductions or Roswell. I think that would have just been more meaningful to the public. Or even the Phoenix Lights, which is, you know, that happened not that long ago. Well, kind of long ago, but not that long ago.
It was a long time ago, my boy.
I don't know. I just think we're in the era where nothing really surprises anymore. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, at least us. We're also talking about in our perspective. A lot of people might be like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? This is probably the coolest thing ever. And we're like, not impressed. You know what I mean? And there might be people that are like,
I mean, what they released wasn't impressing.
Oh, 100% no.
And I think somebody who was also a non-believer would be that impressed either, you know?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. And like I say, I think we're just in the era where nothing really surprises anymore. And, you know, some of those topics that I mentioned earlier could have probably been much more meaningful. Like, everybody knows about Roswell. They could have at least been like, yeah, you know, this is the crash scene. This is what we found. This is what we recovered. This is the testing we did. Like, that would have been like, oh shit, you know, like.
Yeah.
But some little dots flying around, a couple of little spaceships.
Leaked information. That's all we get.
I mean, I'm just saying, look, here's how crazy it is, right? There is life alone on Earth. There's approximately over 1 nonillion life forms on Earth.
A nillion?
Nonillion.
Nonillion. The fuck is nonillion?
That's a lot. That's a lot, my brother.
So more than
means
a billion?
More. So that means animals total, you guys can search this up. And animals, you know, roughly about 7.77 million species of animals. Plants over 298,000. Fungi over 611,000. Humans 8.3 billion, assuming that's accounted for, not including people who live off grid, etc. And it is also said that about 18,000 new species are identified annually. And it is estimated that 90% of the ocean species and 80% of land species still remain undiscovered. So if there's 1 nonillion in total and 90 to 80% have still been undiscovered.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just a crazy time to be alive, my boy. I mean, I just hope that whenever, at least I'm in my deathbed, we get to see a little bit more of, we might be able to even see hybrids at that point, but who knows, depending how long we live.
Yeah. But yeah. Hope eventually, I'm pretty sure, like I said, they're already living amongst us.
100%.
That's, you know, where all these abductions and whatnot happen, and, you know, DNA is extracted, etc., crossbreeded with
other humans and stuff. I mean, they
humans,
admitted it. They
species,
also,
beings, whatever you want to call them. But, you know, fun fact, guys. And I'm going to break down the word entertainment, because entertainment literally means entertain or tame, entertainment. So in other words, if you correct it in a proper way of reading it, would be, it's meant to enter and tame, you know. Just a little facts. Little fun fact out there. I don't know. Which you guys, everybody believes what they want to believe at the end of the day, you know. Don't take my word for it. I'm just here expressing what I think and believe. Same with my wife. Everybody has their own opinion at the end of the day, you know.
Yep.
What's your opinion? You got anything? Any last words to say?
Not because everything I gotta say sounds a little crazy, but it's all right.
Say it, dog. Say it.
I mean, no, not really. I mean, at the end, I already said what I had to say. I mean, at the end of the day, they're gonna give us what they want to give us. They're not gonna give us what we're asking. And at the end of the day, it's just, I guess, up to you and how open you are to these things and how far you want to know about these things. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have much. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's just, you're not going to get what you want. And that's just what it is with the government.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Well, guys, we hope some of this information finds you. Hope it was educational for you guys as far as the topics that we covered, the people that we covered, and some of the information that they found. You can also find more information about them online. Same thing with the other scientists as well. You can literally look them up, find information about them, or the UFO files that were dropped. As I said, war.gov/UFO. You can find more information there. All the files and videos are there as well. And, you know, as we close out, you know, maybe these stories are coincidence, or maybe it's misinformation, or it could be something deeper. At the end of the day, they all point to one truth, right? Humanity's curiosity does not stop at the edge of known, and maybe it's not supposed to. So, you know, tonight we just ask you guys to see, like, what happened to this, what happened to them. Ask yourselves, you know, what truths are willing to be explored, even if they challenge every belief that we know today. Because, you know, I guess the moment starts when you start asking questions, and that's how we're able to expand in this life. I've got nothing else. You got anything else?
Thank you guys for watching, staying in the pod. I know we've kind of been a little slower on the pod these past few months, but life has been busy, and hopefully we're able to get back in our groove and be able to do more content. Be able to do content a little different as well. Like we said in the beginning, is, you know, we want to bring more education to it. Hopefully we get more people that we can interview that are of higher rank. Is like our goal is to be able to be connected to people that actually know these things and are not just maybe thinking it's true, but know that it's true and are actually aware of what the unknown that we are not aware of. And yeah, and hopefully with the next few videos that we have coming out and with the educational aspect that we're wanting to apply here, and then hopefully be able to expand a little bit more as the years go by and have the same support or even a bigger support. We really would appreciate if you guys like, share, comment, follow us on any social media we have, which is Aw8kin the Minds, which we'll add it down here, .podcast on Instagram, on TikTok, and obviously on YouTube, we're just Aw8kin the Minds. So we do appreciate you guys for sticking this long, and I hope this information was good for you guys, and we hope to make it even better next time around. So thank you guys, and we hope you have a beautiful day.
Yep. Catch you guys later. Adios. Ciao.
So let's awaken the minds together.